Hi, my name is Alex Dolphin and welcome back to another episode of Ex Ante. Today we're going to discuss the case of Trimmer versus Van Bomel. This was heard in the New York Supreme Court in the year 1980. Let's go ahead and jump into the facts of the case. Trimmer was a 67-year-old man who owned a travel agency. That's what he did for a living, is he took people on tours. He was doing well, and he began a relationship with a lady with the last name of Van Bomel. Van Bomel, a bit older than him, and kind of became his mistress. She was very wealthy and she was a widow. So they got into a romantic relationship. Trimmer was spending some time on his job still, and Van Bomel didn't like that. She wanted to have Trimmer all to herself. So she told Trimmer, if you would quit your job and come with me and stay with me, 24/7 around the clock, just be my best friend in a relationship with me, I'll provide you a luxurious life. And for 5 years, that was what occurred. Trimmer received a Jaguar, a couple of Pontiacs, which back in 1980 were pretty awesome. The facts of the case show that Van Bomel spent in the 5-year period over $300,000 on Trimmer. So it was certainly a luxurious life that he had been given for the past 5 years. Unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, and so did the relationship with Trimmer and his wealthy widow, Ms. Van Bomel. So when that happened, Trimmer found himself, out of his career. He didn't have any jobs left. He had been not functioning as a travel tour operator for some time. He's frustrated with the situation, so he brought suit against Van Bomel, saying that there was an implied contract between the two of them, as she promised him a luxurious life. And so he asked for $1.5 million because she had promised him a luxurious life. And when they broke up, he no longer had that luxurious life because he didn't have access to her assets or wealth anymore. So he asked for $1.5 million so he could continue his luxurious life, as he had sacrificed, his job as a tour operator in the past. So the issue for the court was there an implied contract in this specific case? More generally, can indefinite terms, if verbally agreed to, give rise to a recovery claim? So the ruling was no. Unfortunately, Trimmer did not get $1.5 million. Matter of fact, didn't get anything. His case was dismissed in summary judgment. The court ruled that there was no contract between the two parties because the terms of the agreement were not definite. Van Bomel only said to Trimmer that she would give him a luxurious life. She didn't say that she would give him $1.5 million over the next 20 years, or, what it broke down to, I think, was around $300,000 a year, if he were to live 10 more years, something like that. But she didn't give any definite number as to, what a luxurious life would look like. Is that $75,000 a year? Is that $100,000 a year? And because the court saw that there was no definite term, the court held that there was no contract. They stated that there needs to be definite terms in order for there to be a contract. And they didn't fill in that gap of understanding and agreement that was in the verbal agreement between Trimmer and Van Bomel. So the quote from the case is, "No guarantees in life, and good fortune to be enjoyed while it lasts does not invariably bring with it lifelong annuity." So sadly for Trimmer, didn't get any money, and he lost this case. So the court ruled that there was no contract because of a lack of definite terms. That's the key to note here. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the ex ante portion of the video. First, I want to discuss a couple of incentives generated by this case. The first would be that it incentivizes, folks to make agreements with indefinite terms in hopes that courts won't hold them valid in the future. And that's kind of the dark side. That's kind of the dark incentive in this case. Example that I would use to just illustrate that would be a college football coach is visiting a player, wants him to play on his football team, and he's trying to recruit him to his football team. So he tells the player, if you come to Brigham Young University, you will be a star here. Well, the kid comes to Brigham Young University, starts playing on the football team, but he never sees the field. Well, the kid might feel like, hey, I might want to sue the coach because he promised me I'd be a star if I came here. Well, the court's likely going to say, the term star is so indefinite, how are we supposed to enforce that, right? Like, the coach might say that, hey, every player on our team is a star. Just because you're not playing doesn't mean you're not a star. You're still on the sideline in front of thousands of people every Saturday night. So anything, that could be subjective might be used by deceitful actors in order to get what they want because they know the court won't hold that as a valid contract. So there's one negative incentive. On the other side of the coin, and I think what the court was seeing in this ruling and was trying to incentivize is that This incentivizes private actors to come to clear, definite terms in their agreements before they feel that they've contracted with one another. So this ultimately does result in an efficiency for the court because less contracts will be litigated before the court. If there are more definite terms, parties are more likely to settle and stay out of the courts. So that's definitely was a portion of the reason why the New York Supreme Court ruled the way it did in this case. Finally, I just want to throw a little hypo, and it's not big time, it's just a small change of verbiage, but I think that the small change of verbiage likely could have changed the way the court ruled in this case. Let's just presume that instead of Van Bomel telling Trimmer that that he would have a luxurious life, Van Bomel told Trimmer that he would have as luxurious a life as her own. Is that type of verbiage a little bit more definite? Is it something that perhaps could be pegged to, and the court would be able to, validate what a life as luxurious as Van Bomel's looked like? How many trips she went on a year, how many elaborate vehicles she bought, how much money she spent on clothes, meals, all these things. The court could come in and actually see what is a life as luxurious as Van Bomel's, rather than just a luxurious life. So the verbiage, I think, could be toyed with to change the outcome of this case. All right, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a nice rest of your day. Bye.